April 20th. So we got the game twos starting, kicking off tonight. Um, Playoffs game ones started on Saturday, and yesterday we had Detroit losing game one to Orlando. Detroit was the only home team, I believe, to lose in the game ones. Um, Boston dominated Philly on Saturday. Atlanta, they tried to give New York a little run for their money in their first half, but New York they kind of just took it over in the third quarter. And yeah, Cleveland beat Toronto. So let's check it out. Um, I definitely believed coming into the series, Cleveland would handle Toronto in six at the most, possibly five. I would love for Toronto to win. I'm not a believer in Cleveland. That's no disrespect to Spider. I have been rough on Spider since his Utah days because I don't believe he's a number one on a championship team. However, Spider is great. He's a dog, and he definitely steps his game up come playoff time. So most definitely give Spider the props and respect that he deserves. Um, Harden has never shown that you can trust him in the playoffs or whatnot, and I don't see any reason for that to be any different now. They should definitely get to the second round. Um, Toronto looked great earlier on in the season, but when you really took a deep dive into their record against the best teams, East and West, it didn't even matter. It was horrible. It was horrible. So I don't see Toronto. I would love and hope for them to be able to at least get two in the series. You know what I'm saying? Make it competitive. But I definitely don't see them winning more than that. Um, Gonna need more from Scotty. Gonna need more from Bi. Bi definitely gonna have to step up and do more. RJ did his thing. Um, I still don't like. Get her ass. I still don't like what I see from Mobley. I just do not like what his game is becoming. I thought he was going to be a more dominant player. He's becoming soft. Um, and if you really know me, and those of you who don't will get to, you'll get to learn. I don't like soft big men. You know what I'm saying? You got to rebound. I need you to rebound. And yeah, I don't know how far Cleveland will be able to go with Mobley playing the way he plays for the majority of the time, really. But like I said, they should definitely get past Toronto. Hello, I appreciate y'all. Thank you. They definitely should get past Toronto in six, possibly even five. Um, what was the other game on Saturday? Orlando, Detroit was yesterday. Boston yesterday. That's one, two. I just did four. So it was I just went over these games. That's right. It was New York and Atlanta. Atlanta's just too small. They just too light in the ass. Um, I do believe that Cat is still gonna have to play bigger. I think he had like 25 and 8 or something like that. But he's gonna have to definitely play bigger because Atlanta ain't got no size for him. So you got to take advantage of that. Um, JB turned up, and there's nothing they can do with big body. I like the way the Knicks defended Jalen and Nall. They made it real tough for him. Atlanta's at their best when Jalen's controlling everything, not when Dyson has to be the point. So if New York can keep that same defensive strategy, that's going to be real useful and real helpful for them. Um, I've said all year the East is New York's to lose. It's theirs to win, theirs to lose. Um, if they don't handle business, that's 100% on them. Now things have changed because of my Blue Devil. You know what I'm saying? What's going on up in Boston? But New York should definitely get out of this series with Atlanta. They should be able to sweep them. I'm not gonna call it a sweep. I'll say Atlanta can get one, if New York is really on their shit. Um, the problem is we never know which Knicks team is gonna show up. You just never know. So because of that, Atlanta could sneak in 2 wins, but I still don't expect them to. I'll take the Knicks in 5. Um, we'll see how Atlanta comes out tonight. I expect them to make some adjustments and do a better job at handling the pressure tonight. But again, will New York counter that with their adjustments? And can I see Cat in the paint a little bit more? Um, Boston, Philly, it ain't really too much to talk about with that. I mean, Joel's out all year. I've been in the minority because I've said that I still can hold true to believing this. It just don't matter because it's not here. I said if Philly is healthy all season, I said if Philly is healthy, give me the betting odds. Give me the betting odds on Philly to come out the East if they're healthy. Um, Unfortunately, they're not healthy. You know what I'm saying? I loved when PG got suspended because that just made sure he's gonna have to sit his ass down and he could be healthy for the playoffs. But unfortunately, it's Joel again, and I hate that because Joel looked great this year. He's not top 5 in the league anymore. Of course, those spots are reserved for Joker, Shea, Luca, Wimby, and I mean, it's subjective. You know what I'm saying? I guess you can't say Tatum after this year. Maybe you want to say Ant. Somebody wants to put JB, but you know, it's. I feel like Giannis is still in there in that top 5. And then Wimby kind of he replaced Tatum due to his injury, but what I'm saying, you still got Ant, JB, Cade, the old guys, they still up there in that 10, 15 mix. Bron, Steph, Durant. But yeah, man, it's Embiid still showed that he has that talent to be considered up there. But I mean, it's just one thing after another, man. Unfortunately, and as great as Maxi is, as great of a rookie season as VJ has had, they're just not gonna be able to do it. They're just not gonna be able to do it. They're just not gonna be able to do it without a healthy Embiid. Unfortunately, what I'm saying. I really hate that. I really, really hate that for Philly. But yeah, because not only is Boston gonna win the series, but if Sunday was in the indicator, Boston about to kill this shit in an easy sweep, not just a sweep, but an easy sweep. I'ma still hope that Philly can edge out one win, but it's gonna definitely be a task, to say the least. Um, so then we look at the only upset. Orlando beat Detroit. That was not only was the only upset I think, but that was definitely a surprise for sure. Orlando was my original young team of this era. I love Paolo. I think Paolo still has an opportunity to be one of the top 5 players in this league, but he has to kind of take my advice and like change up his game. You got to sprinkle in. I broke it down, and I one day I'll do a video breaking down. But I broke it down on the book how you got to take a little bit of that Heat LeBron, that Nugget and Nick Mello, a little bit more of that. Um, put in some Paul Pierce, some Green Hill, a little bit of Giannis, but the biggest person that Paulo really needs to study and figure out how to play like is C Web. He really got to look at C Web's game. I like Mosley, but I don't like how Mosley coaches the team. I don't like how he coaches the offense. I don't like how Paulo is set and handling the ball as much as he is as a point. Get him in the paint, get him on the block, let him do his work down there a little bit more. I'm not saying exclusively, but more than being out on the perimeter and on the wing and at the top of the key. I think it'll just be more effective for him. He played great. Um, but he didn't he didn't take enough shots. He didn't take enough shots. I know he shot over 50%. Um, but he just didn't take enough shots. He wasn't as aggressive as what he should have been. So I just need you to be more aggressive, Paulo. Detroit holes is Detroit holes. They don't have a guy that you can just trust night in and night out to help Cade, and that's unfortunate. That really sucks for them and for Cade. Cade played great. I think he had 39 points, 5 rebounds. He shot over 50% from the field, like right under 50% from the field. Um, Only had 4 assists. Wasn't his fault. I heard Wendy say it this morning on First Take. He had 16 potential assists. He set his team up for 16 assists and only had 4. Guys aren't making shots. Jalen Duren, you took 4 shots, bro. 4 shots. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. Um, to me, a long playoff run is not losing in the second round. 7 games, second round. I don't care. 11 to 14 games. That's not a long playoff run. You got to make it to your conference finals. Um, will it be a step in the right direction for Detroit? To just get to the second round, yes, it will be a step in the right direction. But I'm not giving them no cookies or no brownie points for losing to Cleveland in the second round. They have to get to the Eastern Conference Finals for this to be a successful season. When you look at the type of season that they've had throughout the year, they've been number one. Um, but you got to help Cade. You can't rely on Cade to go get 35, 40 every single night, and then you not make shots to help him out. Um, I do think Detroit will win the series still in about 6. I would love for this to be a 7 game series because, like I said, Detroit, that's my son's new team over the past. But he was on them when they sucked. I'll give him that. When they had the 28, 30 game losing streak, he was a fan then. Um, so I give him credit for that. But I still feel like he cheating on the Lakers. But it's all good. They in the East. I ain't tripping. Orlando was my squad, and they were supposed to be there ahead of Detroit, but they've let Detroit pass them up, and that sucks. But this could be a statement. This could be huge. You know what I'm saying? Because if Orlando handles business and wins game 2, I don't know if Detroit will come back. I think Detroit could still beat them in 6 or 7, even if Detroit falls 0-2. I really do think that they're still good enough. But will they? I wouldn't bet on it. So Detroit must win game 2 if they want to win this series. And regardless, 6 or 7, I hope it's just going to be a great 6 or 7 game series. Um, Paulo got to get more shots. Suggs, Bane, they were off. Suggs started hot, ended terrible offensively. Y'all got to get the ball to Paulo and play through him more, but he needs to play more on the block, even in the mid post. Um, there's nobody that can guard him. You know what I'm saying? So, it's going to be interesting to see the adjustments for that series in game 2 as well. You know what I'm saying? So, definitely waiting on that. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely looking at um, Detroit, Cleveland second round, and Boston, New York is of course the second round. I think we're all waiting to see. And I said all year it's been New York's conference to lose. However, things are different. If Tatum is healthy, I don't see how Boston loses. So that's going to be interesting, and we'll see how that goes.